morning, everybody, and welcome to our Radiance Facebook Live, our Radiance live stream.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. We are so excited that you're able to join us. We know a lot of you guys are probably sitting at your local Baby Lock retailer. So a big shout out to all of our retailers and them having you guys come in and spend some time with us, right?
Yeah.
A couple of hours and all. And then for those of you at home, that's okay too. We love that. We love that you're tuning in and joining us. If you see something that you've got curiosity about, you can always reach out to your local Baby Lock retailer. They'll be glad to help you out as well. But yeah, we're just happy to have everybody.
Yeah, and we decided to host this today because, you know, the Radiance has been out for a while.
Yeah.
But it's really a great time to take another look at this machine. And both Mike and I have had the machine for quite a while.
Yep.
And we've been playing around with it. We've even taught some classes on it and things like that. So we want to kind of share with you guys our excitement about this product and really showcase some of the things that really make it different from any other machine we've had in our line.
It really is. So this is a huge step up from what we've seen in the past. Lots of new features, but one of the big things is a brand new operating system, which we're really excited about. And we're going to see some changes coming with that as we kind of move forward with the machine itself, which is awesome in and of itself. But throughout today, we're going to have a lot of fun. We've got a couple of special guests that are going to be joining us. One will be joining us via satellite. Can we say that?
Yes, via satellite.
And then we have one of our Baby Lock Tacony employees here, and she's going to deliver some kind of special surprising news for you guys.
Yeah.
And then you and I are going to go through and talk about some of our favorite features and some of the actual new features that are on the machine itself.
Yeah, and right now too, we do have some really great offers that are around the Radiance. And so that's another reason why we want to kind of share those with you guys and talk about those. And one of the biggest things we did is as part of the promotion and part of the bundle, is you get access to some live education. At this point, we've already taught it live, so it's going to be recorded content, but you get like 6 days worth of classes with you and I.
Yeah, absolutely. And these were full in-depth classes. We tried to make it to where it was as easy to follow as possible. So we actually split it up into kind of what I call the neighborhoods of the machine, right? So we're going to have a couple of classes on embroidery and advanced embroidery. Then we're going to have IQ, advanced IQ. We'll have sewing. And then placement was a big one. We spent a lot of time on placement because there's some really cool features as far as placement on this machine. So all of those classes, like Patty said, have already been recorded. We presented this live earlier in the year. But here's what's really cool about it. We've created a landing page that once you have your Radiance, you have access to that landing page. And here's kind of the fun part about it. You have access forever.
I know.
Yeah.
That's great.
You can go back and rewatch it as many times as you like. And for those of you who are new to embroidery, which we love whenever we get new people into the hobby, right? And for those of you that are new, you'll be able to watch the beginning things, master that, and then move on to the advanced. For those of you that have been part of the Baby Lock family for a while, hopefully you'll pick up some new tips and tricks and you'll get to where you're comfortable with the new features on the machine itself.
And one of the things I love that we did, you and I both believe that, like, we can show you guys features and talk about different things, but applying those into actual projects is sometimes what helps solidify that. So with each of those classes, you get like lessons about the machine and we walk you through things on the machine. But then at the end, we also give you a project. So the project reinforces what is taught during the class. And along with the video recording, you're also going to get the written instructions. So you and I spent a lot of time making sure that we had good written instructions for you guys to also kind of follow along. So you get video and you get a PDF.
Yeah, absolutely. And we try to make the projects as fun as possible while you're learning multiple parts of the machine. Obviously, as we did, like if we were in the embroidery section, we kind of focused on the embroidery when we were doing that project. So hopefully you'll find some there. And, we do these projects with the intention that you're learning the skill, you're learning the feature that's built into that project. But we want you to make it your own. Obviously, you can copy us exactly. We would be flattered if you did that. But at the same time, hopefully you're able to take those instructions and apply them to whatever it is that you're making yourself and then come up with your own project as well.
Right. And one of the other great benefits, too, that's part of this promotional bundle that we've had, and we've had this for a while, is that when you buy a Baby Lock Radiance, again, we want to make sure that you understand and you really know how to use the machine. So that's a big part of our brand, is that we want to make sure that you're having fun and you really understand the product. But one of the things we also have is our Radiance Facebook group. So that's a great place for us to have that community feel, to have everyone who's Radiance owners be able to kind of share the projects and things like that we're doing. And then you and I can also share things. And we also have been doing some Radiance spotlights and some other videos, again, just to kind of reinforce some of those cool new features on the machine.
One of my favorite things about the Facebook group is that, yeah, we're in there and we're in there a lot. And so is like our marketing department and our social media with Maddie, as she's in there a lot. But the really cool thing is that we have all of your peers in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so neat to see all of the projects that they're creating and sharing and the things that they've learned. Or, you know, I'm a big fan of tips and tricks, right? I'm a really big fan of when we get to hear from other people how they've taken something and applied it or used it, and that maybe ways we didn't even think of, which I love that. So make sure once you get your machine, you join that group and go in and become active in it, because it's a great group to be a part of.
Yeah. So speaking of education, as you guys know, that's a big deal to us. We do also have a lot of our Baby Lock educators and our event partners too, who are, you know, really there to also support this product. And that's one of our special guests today. Is we have one of our Baby Lock event partners, Zandra Shaw, who's going to be joining us. She just got the Radiance about a week ago. She is over the moon with the product and is so excited to share with you guys today some of those things that she loves the most about the Radiance. So are we at a good spot to bring Zandra on? All right. So hello, Zandra, and welcome to our live stream.
Hey, Patty. Hi, Mike. Hi, everybody watching. I'm so happy to be here today.
Yeah,
we are so thrilled to have you, Zandra. So for those of you who haven't had the pleasure of meeting Zandra, and I mean that in all intents and purposes, because her and her family are absolutely lovely. We've been privileged enough that we've known them for quite some time now. And but they are in South Africa. So Zandra is coming to us from South Africa right now. Don't we love technology? But Zandra and her family own a website called Embroidery Shop, and they have some beautiful, beautiful products that are out there that you can go. They've actually even mastered some techniques that are very specific to their product. They have a whole series called Jump Bill, which is really cute, where they take advantage of French stitching and stuff like that. But Zandra's been a partner with us for quite some time, and a lot of you guys may know her from our series that's called In the Frame. No,
Beyond the Frame.
Beyond the Frame. You can tell I'm still not awake yet. Beyond the Frame. And that has been a great series for us, because it's really helped our consumers and our customers get to know their machines from beginning to end. And Zandra, you know, you and I have known each other for a very long time. And when we first met, you and I were teaching at a retailer together. And one of the things that I always admired about you is that you, when you talk to our customers and you talk to our consumers, you talk to them in a way to where it's plain language, right? You make sure that they understand exactly how to do what they need to do, because you're approaching it from their same angle.
Thank you, Mike. Yes, we've known each other for some time, and it's a wonderful honor for me to be here this morning. And I think, you know, being an event partner with Baby Lock is about for the last 5 years, right? But me and you, we go back longer than that, right? So as an event partner, I've been together with Baby Lock since 2020, when we all went into the dreadful lockdown, right? That's where it all started for me as an event partner with Baby Lock. And, you know, we had some very exciting things that we did together, like with the Solaris launch, we had the Zandra Shaw collection. And then each time we, you know, as the years proceeded, we had the Beyond the Frame, you know, website, and where everybody could monthly get this little project where we kind of like focused on new techniques and things to make people excited about machine embroidery.
Yeah, and I love that, because they really, you know, Zandra and her family really have pushed the walls and pushed the limits of what they're doing in the hoop.
Yeah.
And as we kind of go through, Zandra's put together a really great special presentation for you guys today here on the broadcast. But after the presentation, what we're going to do is we're going to sit and talk about some of those new features that Zandra and them have really kind of jumped on top of when it comes to the new Radiance. So, why don't we just turn this over to Zandra? We're going to let you go, and Zandra's going to talk to you just a little bit and introduce our video that she's got and put together for us, and then we'll come back and we'll rejoin you here in just a little bit. So Zandra, it's all yours.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mike. Well, I'm just going to start it off by telling everybody just why I love Baby Lock, right? I truly love Baby Lock because they understand people that create. Their machines are incredibly well made, they are reliable, they are innovative, and they are designed with makers in mind. But what really sets them apart for me is the educational part, right? Where they combine the quality of the machines with the world class education, and then, of course, the genuine sense of community. Their commitment to education means that we are never creating alone. And it's like joining a family that really stands behind you, right? That supports your growth, and they are celebrating our creativity each and in every way. So with Baby Lock, you don't just learn, right? You really grow. It's stepping into a creative partnership once you've got one of these machines. For me, Baby Lock is more than a machine. For me, it's my creative companion because each time I sit down to embroider, I really feel so supported, right? Because I know that the company truly values the makers. And that connection for me is truly powerful, right? And that's why I'm so proud to stand beside the Baby Lock name. Well, 1 week ago, I was the luckiest woman in the world when my Baby Lock Radiance arrived. And can I just tell you this? I'm totally blown away by this machine. For a very long time, I want to raise the bar for machine embroidery and come up with wonderful new things, right? But there are certain limitations in the past on the previous machines. And I can definitely tell you now the gates are open for me. I'm going to raise the bar for machine embroidery because this new machine is absolutely next level. It's a total game changer for us. And I did prepare a project where I'm going to walk you through some of the favorite things about the Baby Lock Radiance. Now, I couldn't cover them all, right, because there's too many things that I absolutely love about the Radiance. So I just decided to highlight the things, through showing you a project. And I've got a little surprise for you about the project, which Mike and them will later on also talk about. And we will discuss more about where you can find this project and everything like that. But I'm going to show you how I pushed the Baby Lock Radiance to its limits, right? And it was amazing, right? It was just totally amazing. And I'm super excited because all of a sudden it's a whole new ball game with what can be done with the Baby Lock Radiance. As everybody know, machine embroidery is not just what I do, it's what I absolutely love. If you are wondering where can you find me, right? I'm from the Hoop Fun Club, but for many years we have been the Embroider Shop. We are a very small family-owned business from South Africa. It's me, my sister Mila, and our wonderful mother Elmarine, besides our two daughters that helps us tremendously within the business. And that is where we live our passion, right? Where we really just create machine embroidery that are different, right? And we are always trying to see what can we come up, right? Whether it is with different types of materials or fabrics or all kinds of things, how can we make something new and creative for the machine embroidery industry? Well, I'm smiling so big, right? Because now my mind is just going like this since I got my hands on the Baby Lock Radiance. Because now there is so many things more that we will be able to actually do. We also do Wednesday webinars. Each Wednesday, we do a small class where we teach a certain technique, right? And we help people to stay creative while learning in action what they can do with their embroidery machines and be creative in all of their projects. So later on, we will also share with you where you can find those Wednesday webinars. If you would like to join for them for a small fee of $5, you also receive your designs and all of the education and the videos and everything like that. But I definitely think that's enough about me. I definitely think you want to know more about the Radiance and what it can do. So let's move on to the video presentation that I've got for you on the Baby Lock Radiance. Hello everyone, I'm Zandra Shaw, machine embroidery educator and the proud founder of the Hoop Fun Club, and I'm just an all-round embroidery enthusiast. I'm so excited that you are here with me today. I've been bursting to the seams to finally just get my hands on the Baby Lock Radiance. So I've worked with many machines over the years, and I can confidently say that the Radiance truly lives up to its name. It's more than just a machine, right? It feels like your dependable, creative partner that is always ready to bring your ideas to life. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share my favorite things about the Baby Lock Radiance's embroidery features and all the wow goodies, right? Of why this embroidery machine is just so amazing. Trust me, by the end, you'll see why I'm practically glowing when I'm working with the Baby Lock Radiance. First things first, let's talk about something that is near and dear to every embroiderer's heart. Hoop size, right? Because yes, size absolutely matters when it comes to machine embroidery. If you have ever wrestled with tiny hoops or played the game of how many times can I re-hoop this design without just losing my mind, get ready to cheer. Because the Baby Lock Radiance is coming out with this jaw-dropping size of an 11 5/8 of an inch by 18 1/4 embroidery hoop size. This is the largest hoop that Baby Lock has ever made, right? It's not just big for the sake of being big. It is also smartly designed too. I'm blown away by this new hoop. I'm so happy because finally we can stitch within these really large hoops, and I'm going to later on show you just how well my project did in this new hoop. What is absolutely amazing about this hoop, and it's a total game changer for us, is the latches at both the bottom and the top of the hoop, right? Why? Because it helps prevent what I like to call the famous hoop pop, when your fabric suddenly decides to make an escape from the hoop, trying to run away mid-stitch. So what does this really large hoop mean for us? Well, it means jacket backs, scatter pillows, quilt blocks, pillow tops, full screens, monogram galore, all in one hooping. This is creative freedom on a whole new level, I can tell you. I'm super excited that we can, with these security latches and the way that your fabric is secured within the hoop, can now literally break out of the hooped-in feeling of machine embroidery. But Baby Lock definitely did not only stop at the bigger hoop, right? They included, here at the back, you can see my snap-on embroidery table extension that keeps that massive hoop from tipping or sagging. Now this makes me happy dance. The embroidery hoop not only clicks securely to the top and the bottom, it comes with the support table when we are doing this really large projects. No more sagging jackets or drag on your hoop. Whew, it's like the Radiance comes with its own backstage crew. You focus on the stitching while it handles the heavy lifting for you. Definitely one of the exciting things is that they did quite a bit of change on our embroidery units, right? This is like bulkier, beefier, better, with everything changed internally to make our experience with this large hoop even better, right? One simple thing is that now, the way that they've changed over here where we slide in the hoop is that you can no longer damage the hoop sensor, right? Which is an absolute great thing. This is exciting news for Jumpville, where we use Zandra's jump technique. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that is where we create like 3D hair with making our embroidery machine jump. Once you learn the jump technique, you will jump for joy with us, but that is absolutely great news for Jumpville. I'm going to introduce you to that in just a bit. The way that they designed this embroidery unit is going to blow your mind once you hear this machine. Now, I have to tell you, I'm one of that people that listens to my embroidery machine. I can definitely tell if something is wrong just by listening what's going on. And it's kind of like I communicate on sound. I have to tell you, once I started to embroider on the Radiance, I kind of like ran into my sewing room each time just to hear if it's still working. Well, it was smoothly embroidering, but I couldn't hear it. This is embroidery so quiet, it's practically whispering. So have you ever tried sneaking in a few stitches at midnight, and then usually it sounds like a marching band in your craft room, right? Not with the Radiance. This embroidery unit is so quiet. It whispers your stitches into the fabric. I call it ninja stitching. Seriously, the motor hum is like a soft purr, perfect for late night embroidery therapy. Well, no one is going to know you are doing your embroidery. I would like to invite you to a little bit of Jumpville meeting the Radiance. When I first got this big hoop, I was like blown away and thought to myself, wow, what if I could take Jumpville, which is Zandra's jump technique, where we create fun things like 3D hair using thread, right, and create the biggest design that I've done up to date. There is a few challenges once it's coming to designs this large already, and doing something like the jump technique is definitely where we are pushing our embroidery machine and the hoop size to its limits. But I have to tell you, the Radiance blow me away, right? I'm super excited. This is my design called the Radiance Girls. And I'm going to invite all of you to join me on October 25 at 11 a.m. Central Time for a virtual event where we will put this design to the test on the Baby Lock Radiance. I can't wait to stitch up this magic with you and show you everything there is for working with the big hoop and to actually make the most of your embroidery part of the Radiance. To get more information about this event, it's going to be totally free. The design will be yours for the taking. The good news is, if you do not yet own the Radiance, but you love these Radiance girls, and you can definitely see this design on some project, I'm happy to report that we are going to do from the 6x10 up until the jumbo size for the Radiance hoop. And you are all invited, right? More information will come out at Baby Lock Tech, and your retailer will be happy to guide you to this class, right? Remember, it's a free event and you are all invited. October 25 at 11 a.m. Central Time. Now, just look at this design, right? This is my hand, and you can see that this is massive, right? This is absolutely massive. Now, before you ask me, Zandra, how many thread did you use? How long did it take, right? We'll cover all of that during our event. But when you are stitching on the Radiance, you are counting your blessings and not your bobbins. This is, of course, a project where we will be using a lot of thread because look at the results. But talking about those bobbins, there is one thing on the Radiance that I absolutely love. There is a change on our bobbin winder that I love, right? We all know that happiness is a full bobbin, right? Well, there is an upgrade on the bobbin winder, which now gives you 10% more bobbin or thread on your bobbin, right? So usually with pre-wounds, they are like almost up until the edge of the bobbin, and then you wind it with a machine, and then you wonder, why can't it fill my bobbin? Baby Lock listened, and we are now filling our bobbins up until the edge, right? Which is totally amazing news for us here at Jumpville, where we absolutely love bobbins, right? The other thing that is still the same is the option of telling the machine that it should just wind your bobbin to a certain amount of thread on it, right? Totally full or just a little bit on it, which is still absolutely amazing. But I definitely love that we can now take our bobbins up until the edge. It's a 10% more thread, right? So you can definitely see that from one that was done on the Radiance versus one that you can see that it's not filled up quite the same. So this is very, very good news for us as far as bobbins. Let's talk a little bit more about the Radiance girls so that I can tell you just why I am so super amazed by the Radiance. So I did take on the challenge to say, well, I'm going to hoop up some fabric, right? And I'm going to see if I can put the ultimate challenge for the Radiance, pulling out all stops and see what results we are going to achieve. So I decided to take this design, which is a really large design. We have never done a jumble design of this size. So to put this in perspective for you, this is usually the size of our jumble design sizes. This girl with the beautiful ginger hair color is a size 6x10, right? And she was done in the 6x10 hoop, and this is usually the design sizes we do for jumble. But when I received the big hoop, can you see what happened, right? So if I put, let's call it ginger, next to these girls, it puts it into perspective, right? Can you see what I mean by gigantic? I have to show you this just so you can get an idea just how big this design is and just how amazing this is, right? So I did put this pillow onto a leather couch, and it is just so beautiful. Think of this as a centerpiece on a bed, right, for a spare room or a guest room or a little girl's. Maybe you've got some special people in your life and you would like them to look like certain people. You can really come up with a really special pillow like this. There's obviously a lot of other things you can stitch this onto, but a pillow is a good thing since you're not going to wash it every day so that you have to restyle the hair. I know you're thinking, well, can you wash this? Yes, you can, but then just like with humans, you will have to restyle the hair, and I'll be more than willing to teach you exactly how to style the hair with absolute ease. And of course, you don't have to do curly hair. We've got ways, or actually not ways, you can choose. Do you want to do straight hair by changing the type of thread we are using? But we'll cover all of that on October 25 in the classroom. You can definitely see that we are on a giant design size over here. Now, the next thing I did was to take fabric, which is challenging. What did I do? I did take 100% Egyptian cotton percale, right? Cotton, and I just took the king size pillowcase. I cut it open, and I then hooped it with our Radiance new hoop. Well, I am so chuffed with the way that it locked in the fabric into place, and you can see that I do not have any concerns with puckering. This is literally flawless, right? It's absolutely amazing how it came out right, and this is like the heaviest stitching that you will ever put to the test. So I feel like clapping my hands, dancing for joy, because I'm going to stay in this big hoop for quite some time, because I'm already dreaming up all kinds of lace designs we can put to the back of a denim jacket. And don't let me get started, right? I will really talk about this hoop all day long, right? So I'm super excited about the size of these designs. The other thing that I already told you about the embroidery arm, that it is able to slip it in so much easier, right, is that with these designs, after each layer of hair you are going to create, right, you have to take your hoop out of the machine, and then you cut your bobbin thread to the back so that you don't add bulk as you are creating each layer. Now, each of these girls have got 6 layers of hair. Now, you might think this is a lot of work. Great things in life do take time, but this is definitely a showstopper, something you will create for a nice chair or for a center point in your house, something that's going to be beautiful, something that's going to be special. So yes, it will take time, it will take thread and a lot of bobbins, but the good news is with the Radiance, we'll make our bobbins go further, right? And when we are stitching in such a big hoop, we count our blessings and not our bobbins, right? So I'm absolutely thrilled of the way that the hoop did locked in my fabric with the heavy stitching, removing it so many times. It is just absolutely wonderful. So to see me in action, you better be at that class, right? Come and grab your Radiance design on October 25, where we will have written instructions, we will have video instructions on exactly how to create this design and make something special and spectacular from it. I think you understand just how much I love the big hoop, right? I can't stop talking about it, but let me say a few more things, right? I don't have time to go through everything, but I'm just going to touch a few things over here and walk with you through it. If you've got the previous or you had the Solaris before the Radiance, right, there is a few changes that is different. A lot of things is the same simply because it's already the top of the line and it worked. That's why it's still working on the Radiance, right? But there's a few changes and they are amazing, the things that did change. One of the changes is that we now have a dual tip stylus, right, which is absolutely amazing. So this flat one over here communicates with our projector, right? And then this one is the one that you've got like a protective cap that you screw on from this side, and you have like a pen tip over here with a plastic protective part over there, which is working amazing when you touch on the screen, right? And then it's got a very clever little house here at the top for the stylus now, right? So you no longer have to take it from the side. I love it here at the top because that's usually where we quickly reach for our stuff, right? So that is really great. The other thing that is really great is, of course, the Bluetooth connection that you can now connect on your machine, right? So this makes it super easy, right, for connecting and transferring some designs, which is great. No longer having to search for a USB that is gone. It is super easy and fast. No cables, no nothing, right? Just straight to the point, uploaded straight to your machine. So with the Bluetooth, you can definitely connect a wireless mouse, which is amazing because just like with your computer, you can use your mouse on your screen or your finger or your stylus, right? What you prefer, right? I always say there's not one specific way you should do something. Do what works for you. But you can definitely still use any mouse with a USB. Some of the wireless mouses also want you to use a USB. There are 2 USB slots on the Radiance, no SD card anymore because it's 2025, right? And you can insert it here on the side and it's definitely amazing. So over here you still have everything like before, but there are changes within each category. So we've got the sewing, the embroidery, and of course the IQ designer. Well, my favorite part is going straight into the middle, right? Because I'm all about embroidery. Of course, IQ designer for us embroiderers is also totally amazing, but that's a whole big subject for another day. By clicking on the embroidery, there is quite a few changes on the screen itself. What I absolutely love is that you can now preview your design here at the top. You can see the size, the number of colors, the color changes, and the time it's going to take you to stitch it out. There is an amazing amount of fantastic designs that you are now having with the Radiance. It's a lot, right? And they are all in wonderful categories. So like when we click on the embroidery, you can see that this is quilt, applique, botanical. So you can definitely scroll through them and see all of the difference. One thing that I love about the new Baby Lock Radiance, specifically, right, because English is not my first language. Sometimes I get lost in translation and I will call something on the screen something that it is not. Wow, the Radiance is really going to help me out. Because why? when I'm just hovering over, it will show me, can you see the pop-up? Exclusives, embroidery patterns, character patterns, and then it will tell you that this is the long stitch embroidery patterns, the split embroidery patterns. All of these, by the way, is absolutely amazing, this split embroidery patterns. But if you don't know how to use something, it's going to exactly tell you what it is. Or if you don't know what it is, right, you can just hover over it. If you are with your finger, you can just long press it and the pop-up will show you that, like, that is couching patterns, right? So that is something that is totally amazing about the machine, is that you no longer have to wonder, right? Specifically, if I click on a design and I select something and I set it, and we are going inside of our screen. Now, sometimes, like on the editing function, you might not know, so what is that crown? Oh, it's an applique piece, right? You see how totally amazing. Why is this like this? Oh, it's to flip it horizontal. Isn't this amazing, right? So you don't have to learn all of this out of your head. If you forget what something is, it is totally amazing. So this pop-up is a real lifesaver and definitely something that I'm going to enjoy to use, right? Though that is quite a bit of fun over there. The other thing I really do like about what has changed on the machine, right, is when we go in our fonts, right? Now, fonts is very important for an embroiderer, right? Because we always want to customize something. We want to tell the world what is our name or a special message or something like that, right? Now, there is a lot of wonderful new fonts on the Radiance. Now, let's click on any of these fonts. This is next level. The fact that you can actually preview. Ask any embroiderer how much time it takes, right? If you are typing a name or something and then you see, oh, but that R is a funny R, it's not going to look good. Or it looks like there is a missing gap or something, right? You know what I'm talking about. So being able to see all of the parts of the font and things like that is really, really smart. And then when you click on it, after you've previewed it, right, the next thing that is next level is usually with the previous machines, you get small, medium, and large. Well, this is absolutely fantastic. You can now like with your Word document or like Excel or any document where you're working, where you are able to put the size of your font. It's just like that. You can go small or you can go big, right? And we have seen now today that with the Radiance, I think we're going to go big, right? So that is absolutely wonderful. So absolutely wonderful as far as the fonts, definitely something that I'm enjoying. There is wonderful things like this decorative alphabet, right? Things like that, that is just absolutely amazing. The other amazing thing on the Baby Lock Radiance, which is making it just wow, 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 right, is the picture play embroidery. This is definitely something that's also for a whole subject, right? But where you can actually take a photo and in no time you can select. There's also different styles. Do you want to do it like the original style? You can select different thread, right? And you can say how many colors you would like to use to make it more detailed or less detailed. And I'm blown away with the wonderful ability of all the different designs. So I'm just going to click on it, right, so that you can actually see. So I selected a sweet little photo of my little girl when she was a little girl, right? And I'm going to just click on set. Now, one thing about this is that you've got the option to like only embroider the person and remove the background, right? Do it in different artistic styles. You can do quite a bit of editing over here. You can see like this is the original, and then you've got like abstract things that you can look at, like style number 2, and you can basically just drag it like this, and it can look like water paint, or it can look like a mosaic, or things like that. There's a lot that you can discover over here, but let's just go for original today, right? So I'm just going to click on original and go on to next, and over here you can see that you can it can go up to 30 colors. You can select the brand you would like to use, right? And it's just totally amazing. We're going to give the machine a little time to think, because it's like literally auto digitizing. This is totally amazing. The previous machines, you had to like work through apps, right, and software, but now it's right onto your machine, which make it really wonderful if you quickly want to stitch out your grandchildren. And here you can see my little girl that turn into stitches, and now I can increase the colors, right, and make it more detailed or less detailed, depend on the thread. You can see we can do up to 30 colors, and then you've got the option to play around with the density. And now if we click on the preview, we are going to be amazed again. Well, I've been amazed for quite some time on this machine, and I've just started to play with this machine, but I can already tell you that I can't wait. It's like very difficult for me to go to sleep at nighttime knowing that there is a radiance in my sewing room, because it shines so bright, right, that I can hardly sleep. All right, and it's going to just take it in there, and then I can start stitching this out, right, which is just absolutely totally amazing. So can you imagine what you can do with the picture play? It's just one of that features that absolutely blows my mind. One of the last features that I would really like to highlight is the amazing projection field that we now have inside of the hoop. This is really a fantastic size of 5 by 8 inches, and what makes it more amazing is that you actually have some editing functions that you can use right on your fabric by using your stylus. I'm not going to say too much about the projector right now, simply because of the lighting of my camera, but one thing that is truly amazing is that you now have the capability of resizing, moving it right from your fabric, and it will communicate with your machine, right? So that is totally amazing, and the projector is so important to give us some help with when we are doing placement on certain fabrics, and all kinds of ways that we can use it to rehoop something, to get the perfect placement right. It's absolutely such a fantastic tool on the embroidery side as well as on the sewing side. So that is our projector now with a very large 5 by 8 size, which is absolutely amazing. Do you love machine embroidery as much as I do? Then I would like to welcome you over to the Hoop Fun Club and come and check out what we are doing on a monthly basis, where we create the most beautiful machine embroidery month after month with some projects, design a set of designs and lace trims for this year. We are doing our July bonus the end of this month. And it's overall just a wonderful community. That's why they call it the world's #1 machine embroidery club, right? Don't miss out on this, since the Radiance will now be the machine I'll be teaching on in the Hoop Fun Club. So come and have a look at what we're doing over there. If not, come and join me on October 25th, where I'll be waiting for you in the hoop with the Radiance girls, and we are going to jump for joy with Zandra's jump technique, right? And we will shine bright like the Radiance.
All right, thank you, Zandra. It looked like you had so much fun playing with the new Radiance, and that was only a week, right? You've only had it for a week, so that is pretty amazing how much fun you've been able to do, and just even some of the projects that you're already working on.
Yes, I had so much fun, Patty. I can tell you that even since I made the video, I played around with it even more. Now I'm even more excited, right? So it was wonderful, and I'm so happy that I've got all of that videos that you and Patty created, Mike, and that's absolutely so helpful. So for those of you that do have the Radiance, that's definitely the way to go to find out everything about this amazing machine.
Yeah. So one thing too that you mentioned in the video is your generosity of hosting that
Yes.
event for us, right, in October. And so, I'm sure people have questions about that. We're going to share that. Is that something you think too that, I'm sure people want to know if they can go to a retailer to see that. So you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Sure, absolutely. So definitely mark your calendar for October 25 at 11 a.m. Central Time. The event is free. You can definitely ask your Baby Lock retailer if they don't want to get all of your sewing friends together at the retailer, because that's always more fun to be at the retailer shop than to be alone. But whether you are going to join in from a retailer store, or if you are going to you even get people that join in from a hospital bed, right? Or people that are joining in from home. Whether you are going to join in, you are all welcome. Now, I know the first thing that people that love the Radiance girls are seeing this, they're already seeing, oh, my daughter has got blonde hair and this one has got straight hair, and they're already excited. But I don't have that bigger hoop size. The good news is that we are inviting everyone to come and see just how amazing this machine is, right? And we really have to show this off, right? To show them how great this hoop is. That's why I decided I can't keep this a secret. I have to get people to join in and do it themselves. But the good news is, Patty, that we are going to also have sizes for smaller
Yep.
hoops, not all the hoops, right? Because this is one thing that we had some limitation on the previous bigger machines, that although you had the bigger hoop, jump fill was limited up until a certain hoop size, right? So you might say, well, Zandra, why did you never do one of your jump fill designs in the 9.5 by 14 inch? Well, because of the famous hoop pop, right? That's why I never did it.
We
But
love that. The hoop pop.
on
Yeah.
the smaller sizes, you definitely don't have that problem. So whether you've got the Radiance or you don't have the Radiance, definitely be in the classroom on the 25th of October at 11 a.m. Central Time. Now, right now, there's no way that they can sign up already. We are going to release the QR codes at Baby Lock Tech so they can find out from their retailer where do they sign up. So it's going to be super easy. They use the QR code, they sign up for free, and this is going to give them access to like a members area where everything is going to happen. They will have the calendar to know, when is the actual webinar going to be, what is the actual link. There will be a replay of the event if they've missed it. There will be the educational video, and of course, then the designs to download. The other good news is that we will also include the Beyond the Frame projects as an added bonus, because there's so many people that don't know about it yet, and
Right.
for them it's going to be even better.
Right. And we love that because you're like Mike and I. You want people to be using their machine, trying different techniques, getting
Yeah.
really excited about embroidery. And I think your energy and enthusiasm is very contagious.
It's very contagious. And Zandra, that's one of the things I've always loved about you is you can work everybody up with no problem at all. Just your smile and your overall just attitude and positivity is wonderful.
Thank
Thank
you much.
you so
Yeah.
much for that.
Yeah, and
So
if some of you guys are wondering too, we keep talking about Baby Lock Tech, BLT. That is actually our convention that is hosted in August. So that's when all of our retailers come here to St. Louis to be able to learn about new products and things like that. So this is going to be a great opportunity for us to teach the retailers so that they can bring that program to you guys at their stores.
absolutely. Well, Zandra, it has been an absolute honor and pleasure having you join us for this. As always, you bring nothing but light and love to this, and we appreciate it more than you could ever know. And I hope that you and your family have a wonderful rest of the evening and enjoy the weekend over in South Africa. And, we can't wait to hear more from you. And Patty and I will be there for the Jumpville on the 25th for
Yeah.
sure.
Yep.
So thank you again, Zandra. We appreciate it more than you can ever know.
Yeah. Thanks, Don.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. And for those of you that's going to come over I'm waiting for you inside of the hoop on October 25 at 11 a.m. Central Time. Thank you so much for having
All
me
right.
today.
Thanks, Zandra.
Thanks, Zandra.
Bye,
Yeah.
everyone.
And so we love that she showed all of those features in that video. And those are some of the things that Mike and I love about the machine too. So we were like going, yes, that's one of our favorites. Yes, that's one of our favorites. So the rest of the time we're gonna talk a little bit about some of those things that she kind of highlighted and kind of give you some more details on it.
Absolutely. And one of the things that you got to see with Zandra is her excitement about the new hoop.
Right.
And I have to say, you and I, this was one of the first things we latched onto as well as, you know, we love a big hoop. We always have, right? Now, let's be honest. Most of our embroidery is done in smaller size hoops for the most part, but the luxury of having that big, expansive field of importable area is amazing. And with the brand new hoop for the Radiance, this is 11 5/8 inches by 18 1/4
It's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful, right?
That's why I like her calling it a jumbo hoop, because it's just a really big hoop.
Yeah, and I mean, it's big enough that I've actually stepped through this, and I'm not a little guy. You know, so I've actually done this. But one of the things that we're going to show you here is Zandra talked very specifically about the fact that in her jump fill series, she kind of stopped at a certain size because one of the things that she found was as we went up in our hoop sizes, we started to run into the issue of what she calls hoop pop, which I love that. I love that technology, that terminology. But what hoop pop is just basically your project winds up popping out of the hoop because of the fact that it's not tensioned well, it's not hooped well, it's not, and there is an art to hooping. We know that.
And for most of us, we're hooping something once and we're putting it on the machine.
And done,
with her techniques, she's actually doing, I think she told us she was taking it off 18, 19 times. So there's a lot of hoop movement, and that's why she had to kind of get away from using those larger hoops, because you're constantly worried, oh, is it going to pop out of the hoop?
And now, granted, there's wonderful placement tools. So if you do accidentally have a hoop pop, I'm just going to start calling it that because I don't think it's great.
It's going to be our new tool tip. It'll be.
But if you have a hoop pop, the great thing is that we have that camera, we have that projector, we have our needle beams, we have all of these different things that'll allow us to put it back in. But who wants to do all that, right? Because it does take time. And it does take precision, and you do have to be very mindful about how you do that. So if we can eliminate the issue right off the bat, why not? And really and truly, that's what we've done with this. Now, I know Jim's going to have to tell me to move stuff around as we go here, but if you look at my hoop, this is the largest, and this is from the back. You can see that at both the top and the bottom now, I have these tension release clasps, right? So if I push that up, I've just released the tension off of the top of that hoop. I have the same thing down here at the bottom. So if I actually pull this down, now I actually have no tension on my hoop at all, which is great because when I go to actually hoop this, I'm going to lay it down on a flat surface, right? And I'm going to make sure that that outer hoop is opened up enough that when I put the inner hoop and the fabric in there, I'm not putting any tension on the actual hoop itself. As soon as I get ready to actually tension the hoop, all I have to do is close those two latches. And now this is actually really well hooped. And you can see it's actually smooth and flat, right? Now, the one thing that we've changed on this that's completely different is that up here at the very top, and I'm going to get Patty to help me here because we're going to take the fabric out.
How are we doing this?
Just take the fabric? Yeah.
Okay.
If we look up here at the very top, which I've got it upside down now, but if we look at the very top up here where my finger is, you'll notice that there's these two little fins that kind of stick out. Well, if I look at the inner hoop now, you'll notice that there's this little ridge. When I actually go to hoop this, that ridge is going to sit behind those two little fins. And that is what's actually making it to where we don't have that hoop pop, as Zandra's calling it. So when we go to put this down into this, we're actually going to line up the top first, and then we would come down and line up the bottom. Now, granted, I've got this opened up for the fabric that we have chosen, so it's actually expanded way too much. But then whenever I close this in, it's going to properly tension this, and this almost acts like a hinge. Right. So the difference here is whenever we were hooping on any of our other hoops, we can actually just hoop by pushing the inside down and we're good to go. On this, we're going to actually kind of slot this up on the top and then push that down and then work our way down the frame. So this is going to have the one distinction that we do have to hoop the inner hoop very specifically to the outer hoop. So the inner hoop actually now has a top.
Yeah, and then if you flip it over to the back again, Mike, you got these, you also have these little safety areas here where these little grooves here that are going to also kind of help hold that fabric in. So these little sections
Notches.
here are also lining up to hold your fabric in.
Yeah.
So again, I also like the fact that you have that tension at the top and the bottom, because before we just had it at the bottom. And so that way too, you get that equal distribution of the tension. So especially with that larger hoop. Yeah. And that also ties in with the fact that we also have another little support table now that comes with the Radiance. So that just helps give your hoop that extra lift. If you've ever embroidered with one of the large hoops, sometimes it has a tendency to want to, like, as it gets towards the back, it kind of tips a little bit. This helps hold that nice and flat.
Right. You're not going to have that soggy hoop syndrome.
Yep, exactly.
Right. The other thing about this is this little stand that we have here on the back, the support table, is something that we can leave on 24/7. We do not have to take this off. The only time you'd have to take this off is if you are in a cabinet, such as the one we have here. We have one of our koala cabinets, and it's really hard to see on camera because it's actually so well matched. But this centerpiece here actually lowers down into the cabinet itself. We would have to take the embroidery arm off, and we'd have to take the support table off to be able to lower down. But once we do that, we can. But you can sew with this table on. You can quilt with this table on. You can embroider with this table on. We do say on this machine that you should have it on if you're embroidering, right?
For sure.
So always have it on for your embroidery.
For sure.
But I love this, and I've been playing a whole lot with this hoop size just because of our Radiance 101 class, things like that. And I have really found that it does stand up to being taken on and off so many times. And the one thing we do get, and I'll mention this just as kind of a passing thing, and we go into this a little bit more inside of our Radiance 101 classes. So if you actually go back and watch these, you'll see us talk about this a little bit more. But if you've tightened your hoop up enough that you start to see these long edges bow, it's because you've got your hoop too tight, right? So if you see that kind of little bow in your tightness or your bow in your arms of your hoop here, just loosen off the tension, right?
Yeah, loosen the screws a little bit so that you don't want to be struggling to actually close those clasps.
It shouldn't be hard.
Right.
It should be very easy.
Right. So some of the other things that Zandra really touched on were things like the bobbin winding. Yes, this has a larger, you can get a more full bobbin now with the bobbin winder. Also, the stylus, the dual purpose stylus, it has a little house. We also do love the fact that this machine has a ton of wireless features, right? So we can connect our machines wirelessly to transfer designs over from Palette 11 or the free design database transfer program. You can use a wireless mouse, right? So you do want to use a wireless mouse that plugs in on the side, or you can use a wired mouse as well.
If you're doing the mouse that's wireless, it has to be one of the ones that has the little USB that connects to and all. So it's actually not Bluetooth. It is just wireless, but the good thing is that you do have those two slots over here. It can go into either slot, and it works beautifully. Now, I will tell you, just because we learned this the hard way, is our mouse goes to sleep. So if you're using a wireless mouse, you may notice that my cursors disappear. Just jiggle your mouse a little bit.
Make sure it's turned on, too. Yeah. Make sure the batteries are working.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
So the other thing that...
we're getting a little bit of rainstorm here.
All right, so we're gonna actually start off. We're gonna go into. We're gonna bring in a new.
So we are gonna come back and we're gonna explore some of the features. So we want to make sure to. Zandra touched on picture play. Mike's gonna take you through. We're just gonna both kind of hang out on set, but we're gonna walk you through picture play and then talk about some of the embroidery features that we have that we both really love, and then also placement and talk some about sewing as well, because there's some great sewing features here as well. But before we get to that, we're going to introduce one of our special guests, and this is going to be Nairi Holmes. And Nairi is one of our product managers for Baby Lock. So she's the one who sources a lot of the fun notions and the fun accessories that we get for our machines. So
not only that, but she brings some really cool styled stuff in. So we love Nairi. She's one of a big part of our team. So Nairi, you want to come in and join us?
Yep. And we're going to kind of shimmy out a little bit.
Well, I'm going to help her bring her product.
You're going to help her bring her things. I'm going to kind of shimmy out.
All right. So yay for Nairi.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Patty. Thanks, Mike. Welcome, Radiance community. All right. So one of the most frequently asked questions I have received about the Radiance is, are we going to be bringing in a trolley large enough for the Radiance embroidery unit? And you guys asked and we listened, and this is it. This is our exclusive new Radiance embroidery unit trolley. This guy is large and in charge, and a beautiful addition to your luggage for your Radiance embroidery unit. So let me open it up here and I can show you some features. So we already have the Radiance embroidery unit inside here. As you can see, it's all safely strapped and snuggled in here. Right now, we've got 2 straps for the body of the Radiance embroidery unit. We've got 2 straps down here for the arm. So it is safe whenever you guys are moving, your unit and your trolley from classes to home. It's got some great loops inside for your stabilizer. It's got some notion packaging, some notion bags over here. You can fit your needles, your thread, you can fit your seam rippers, any of your notions included in there. You can include in there, yes. And as Zandra and Mike were talking about that large embroidery hoop, we also have a padded pocket for that embroidery hoop. It's nice and padded, it's nice and large. It'll fit all of your embroidery hoops in here. And then we also have some extra padded packaging, or some extra space inside here. It'll fit your needles, thread, any other notions you have. It'll fit fabrics. It'll fit, your patterns, anything like that in here. So you guys asked, we listened. We wanted to make sure we curated a trolley that was sturdy enough to fit your Radiance embroidery unit, but also had some extras that would include your notions as well. And I also wanted to mention and remind you guys that we do have our extra large trolley that does fit your Radiance. Just wanted to show you in here. It's all locked and loaded in here. Lots of fun notion zippers and pockets for you to fit all of your tools with you. We've got pockets on the side. We've got pockets on the front. And he lays down nice and sweet, and you zip them closed. So retailer pre-orders start on Monday, July 21st for the Radiance embroidery unit trolley. So talk to your retailers today. Thanks, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you, Nairi.
Of course.
Yeah, so I love these. Whenever Nairi first introduced us to the quilted totes, I fell in love with them. They're beautiful. They're classy looking.
Right. And somebody who already has the XL trolley, they can still order just the embroidery unit separate. So I love that we're making it either as a pairing or separate pieces.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. So I'm excited about that. And having luggage is always a big plus, right?
Yes.
All right, so we hooped this back up really quick offset while Nairi was talking with you guys, just so we can come in and put this in. And that way we can kind of take off and start showing you some of the features that we actually really, Zandra touched on most of these, but we're going to kind of expand just a little bit on them. One of the first things that she talked about was picture play. And picture play is something that near and dear to my heart because I'm a big digitizer. And of course, Palette 11 is our software for digitizing inside of Baby Lock's kind of atmosphere or what have you. And we do have a version of picture play in called Photo Stitch.
Right, that's where a lot of people did their Photo Stitch, but now I love it that it's on the machine.
Because now you don't have to learn extra software, you don't have to have a computer, we don't have to transfer, we don't have to do anything, right? So everything's actually built into the screen itself. So, let's take a look at kind of how we kind of navigate around this, but we also want to show some samples.
Yeah, I was going to say, show some samples, because you guys might be going like, what would I use picture play for? And it's pretty fun. And, obviously you think about, I'm going to take a photograph and I'm going to turn that photograph into stitches. And you and I did that initially. And then we got some inspiration from some retailers. And we've been doing it also with some kind of fun watercolor images and things like that as well.
Yeah. So one of the first retailers that we kind of saw do this was Brad Martin. And Brad, if you're watching, hi, thank you for the inspiration.
Yeah.
But they're at Ellicott City Sewing Back. And Brad is a big digitizer as well, just like I am. And Brad is the one who kind of inspired us to kind of go the cartoon route because he did some, and I don't even remember what the ones that he did, but they were really, really beautiful. And, he's posted those out online so you can see those. But we kind of did that. So I've gotten to where I'm really big into playing around with different art. And this is a cartoon version of my dog Mango.
Yes.
So I actually took a photo of Mango, and I brought it into basically one of the AI programs, and I said, hey, let's convert it over to a cartoon. And I took that, and I'll actually show you the image in just a few minutes from where this came from, but then ran it through picture play on the thing, and this is how it actually stitched out.
So cute.
And I changed nothing.
Well, and I love it too, because to digitize something like this, to get all of this texture and dimension
would take forever.
It would take forever, be really challenging. So I love that you have a program built in that just takes it and does it.
Yeah, and the thing that's really neat about picture play is it's not a standard stitch. It's a thing called scatter stitch. And basically what it is it layers this kind of random stitch one on top of the other, so it blends your colors, which is awesome.
She's so cute. Show me your burger.
Oh, I love the burger. Okay, so
he needs fries to go with his hamburger.
I actually have the fries. I haven't stitched it yet, but so this, we'll show you the picture from this, but this is just clip art.
Yeah, and it's crazy. It's crazy. Those sesame seeds look like they're just popping off.
They really do.
The actual bun.
And I will say, while we're here on the burger, let's turn this around and show you the back. There's nothing special about the back. You know, one of the things we get asked all the time is, how do you stabilize this stuff? Well, number one, the magnetic frames are your best friend, right? I absolutely love our Baby Lock magnetic frames. They hold your fabric so taut, so steady. And all I had behind this whenever I stitched it was a layer of tearaway. Yeah. That was it. Just the actual, and this is
like a canvas.
It's a canvas and then a layer of tearaway, and we were good to go.
Yeah, I love this one.
That one's
everyone
fun.
Wants to steal this one.
I know. I need to stitch the fries though.
Yeah. And the one thing to note though, that these are not like quick stitch outs either.
These are long stitch
They take
outs.
a little time, but the results are just amazing.
Yeah. Again, just clip art, right? So went in, found like a really cool tiger or lion. And I promise I do know my
lions,
animals.
tigers, and bears. Oh my!
Yeah, but this, and just like the pop art version of it, kind of fun.
It's very fun.
And then this I actually did to kind of show you that we can combine things. So when we first started playing with this, it was obviously kind of around the Easter time or what have you. And so did the Easter bunny, but then came back in with our font on top of
I love it.
The actual design itself and put the hoppy.
But Easter. I love this because these are just like vintage images that, again, I think would be so hard to really get them to look good with regular embroidery.
Absolutely.
So you get that watercolor look.
And this one, this was so much fun. So this is actually an alphabet that I bought off of Etsy, of all places. Yeah. And just brought it. I literally changed nothing. I brought in the actual PNG. Yeah. And which we should say that you can work with PNGs, JPEGs, or GIF. Is that right? GIFs. And you can use any of those to bring in. And this was just a PNG. And I didn't even have to remove the background.
Yeah, Etsy's been getting a lot of our money lately.
They have.
There's a lot of art people out there. So those are awesome.
Yeah. So let's take a look at kind of how this works on the machine. So this is going to live inside of our embroidery area of the machine. So I'm going to come in and click on embroidery. And then down here at the very bottom, you're going to see that we have IQ Designer, which if you've been with the Baby Lock family for a while and you've been on the top of the line machine, you've noticed that we've always had IQ Designer in the bottom corner. But now right in front of you, you're going to have Picture Play. Now, while we're on the screen, one of the things that that Zandra talked about was tooltips.
Yes, love the tooltips.
And so if I take and I hover over any of these little icons, you'll see it actually tells me exactly what that icon does.
Right.
So now, instead of having like an icon chart that I have to refer to, I can simply just hover and get a tooltip.
Okay.
And we love that. So I'm going to go into Picture Play. And one of the things that you'll notice about our machines, if you're new to the Baby Lock family, is we're all about telling you everything on the screen, right? That user interface, the ease of use, we really, really stress that. Once you learn one of our machines, it's pretty easy to work on any of our machines, which is really nice. But this walks through and tells you all of the different kind of like rules and regs of using our Picture Play program and that kind of stuff. I'm not going to sit here and go through this, but you'll notice down at the bottom, I have two different icons that I can select. The first one is going to be one that looks like the little USB symbol. So again, I could bring in any of those different graphic types and put on a USB and bring them in here. But then I also have one over here that looks like a flower. Now, what happened was, and you didn't see this happen because it happened off screen, but I actually took my phone where I had these images stored and I used one of our apps, which is called our IQ Intuition Positioning app. So our positioning app was actually developed for our Altair Meridian because those two machines, which are kind of upper machines in our lineup, do not have cameras, and this actually allowed the smart device to take place of your camera. So now you can actually use that app to import artwork into IQ Designer and Picture Play. And that's what I did. So I'm going to come down and use my kind of cursor here to click this.
And especially with pictures, right? That's where most of us have our picture stored, is on our phone. So it makes it easy. So there's like a picture of mango.
There's a picture of mango. Or here is, if I click on the next one down here, there is a little autumn picture that I picked up off of Etsy. The next one down, you can see there's a line drawing of a dog that we'll talk about a little bit. There's that hamburger, right? So if I wanted to do the burger, we'll go ahead and set that first. But if I do the burger, it's going to bring it in, show me the actual image itself. And you can see this is a photo, right? This is not clip art. This is actually a photo. And from this, I can actually do all kinds of adjustments now here. Now, one thing we will tell you, this is not a photo manipulation program. It is to create embroidery, right? So what's the old saying? Garbage in, garbage out. Yeah. So if you start off with a very poor quality image,
or it's like a picture of a picture. You're not going to get
want that. And also, if you're going to be making large edits to it or large adjustments to it, do that in software. Don't do that on your machine. So, but here I can come in and I can resize this. You can see this is a big file, right? 10.24. So if I wanted to, I could come in and adjust it down in size or up in size, either proportionally or within just height or just width. Also, you'll notice that we always have a reset on the screen. So if you start playing around with it and you're like, oh, it's just too much, you can hit reset. And you can also rotate here, but here's where the fun comes in. You get some very customized things down here. So you've got one that kind of looks like a sunset over a mountain. This will allow you to remove the background. Now, I don't have a background on this particular image, so there's nothing to remove. But let's say that I was doing that picture of mango and I wanted to get rid of the living room in the background. I could do that.
Or the bunny you did with the background on that bunny.
Yeah, exactly. Next, you're going to see that it's going to allow you to frame the image, so you can actually put like circle frames or squares or things like that around it. And then the last one is you can say, hey, fit this to the frame that I want to pick. So when you do this, it's going to ask you what frame you would like to fit it to. Does that mean I have to stitch it in that frame? Absolutely not. It means that you have to stitch it in at least that size, if not bigger.
It kind of resizes it for you right there on the spot.
It does.
And the one thing to remember too is on those three icons, you can only do one of those.
That's right.
You can't like frame it and then fit it to a frame. There's some limitations there, but it's still
very useful,
very helpful.
All right, so I'm just going to say, hey, we're good with where it is now. And then you'll see that this is taking me over to where we can do our style selection. Now, Zandra mentioned this just a little bit, but one of the things that you're going to notice is that there's actually 12 different styles that we can use inside of Picture Play. One being the original style. That's what we would get if we were using Photo Stitch over in IQ Designer. Palette 11.
Right.
One is going to be a custom style, which means you go in and change all these different things. But then you have 10 built-in artistic styles as well. So if I kind of slide these over, you'll see like the first one here is icon art. This reminds me of like Andy Warhol, right? Kind of pop art, kind of things like that. If I keep scrolling, you'll see that we've got one that's going to be kind of Art Deco. We've got a line pencil drawing sketch. We kind of like
both like the watercolor one.
The watercolor ones are really fun. Oil pastels, neon signs, But you can play around with all of these and kind of see what they look like. We'll pick one really quick here. Let's go. Where is my watercolor? Let's do the number 4, the oil pastels. So once I've selected this, you have one other choice, which is right here. And when I hover over it, it says use the color of the style image art or use the original colors, one or the other. So I can either say, hey, stick with the colors that are in the original photo, or I can say, hey, use the colors that are kind of in that preset. So I'm going to have it to where it's turned on. So it'll actually use the preset. I'm going to say,
an interesting looking burger.
It is going to make an interesting looking burger. And this is actually going to take a few seconds because what we're doing is we're actually asking it to do some heavy lifting.
Like it's auto digitizing it for you. It's going to take.
Well, at this point, it's not actually digitizing yet. It's doing the artistic style.
That's true.
And then the next step would be the actual digitizing itself. So we don't panic when we see the little circle jumping here. That just means it's thinking. Right. And I know, it's early Saturday morning. I know we're kind of both of us would like a nap right now. But you can see what it did to my burger. I love that. I think that is so cool. It kind of has this like, I don't know, retro-y kind of really bad menu diner print.
It looks like a cartoon to me. It looks definitely more cartoony, like SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah, that's great. But I love that. It's so much fun. it's a blast to kind of sit in there and just kind of go through and see how all of these are going to just treat your actual
I think
design.
you need to go back to your original.
I do too. We'll go back to the original, which is just with a click, right? So we can kind of get here and just say preview again. It'll take us back to the original just like that. Now, if we wanted to keep playing, you can. Down here at the very bottom, you're going to notice that there's a color adjustment window that we can go in. This is going to allow you some very minor editing. Okay, again, I'm going to stress, if you're going to do big editing, do it out in software.
I 100% agree.
But I can come in and do sharpness, which is accented edges, right? Sharpness is a great way to kind of make it to where the pops of colors are very distinct.
Yeah.
I usually do adjust the accented edges, maybe just one click, and that's about it. Brightness, contrast, and saturation. Generally, if you have a really good image to start with, there's really no need to touch those. If you have to, though, it's great that they're there.
And it could be like an older photograph that you had. Your only option was to take a picture of a picture.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm going to hit next here, and this is where it's actually digitizing. So
I just jumped ahead.
Yeah, you were one step ahead, but that's okay. This is actually going in now. It's analyzing that image, and it's determining what it needs to do to be able to create that embroiderable image for me. And you'll see that after just a few seconds here, it'll pop up. It's going to show me a preview of what the stitch out is going to look like. It's going to show me the colors that are going to be part of this. It's going to give me all of the information. And this is what's really cool about it. That's it. That's literally it. That's the actual result right there. Now, on this screen, we'll see when this pops up in a second. I have a lot of editing capabilities here. So I can go in. Zandra mentioned that we can have up to 30 colors. Absolutely, you can. Do I stitch anything with 30 colors? God, no. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and change 30 colors on one design. But here you can see that is the actual way it will look when it stitches out. It's actually what's stitched out, right? Because I did not change anything in the actual sample. So when you look at this, I would say that's a pretty darn good match, right? So what you want to do is trust what you see in the actual picture play preview window, because in a minute when I go over to the embroidery preview window, it's going to look a little different. It's not going to look horrible, but it's not going to look as great as it looks here. And that's because it's trying to force it into a kind of a 3D view.
And I think one of the things too, when you talk about trusting it, the colors that it picks up for it, while you might not think that those are the colors that you would want to use, trust the machine. Those are the colors, because they're layering. Like you said, it's doing those little scattered stitches. So it's layering those to create the final color. Yeah,
absolutely. Now here on the actual screen, you can see it defaults to 15 colors, right? Now, I will tell you, I am a lazy embroiderer. We wear that badge of honor very, very proudly. And I usually try to get that even lower.
I know.
Yeah. So most of mine are 10 colors.
But you don't want to lose the,
you don't want to lose
the definition of your,
But if you want to see kind of how to play, this is one of the things we spend almost an entire day on in our actual Radiance 101. So you can go in and get more detail on this. You can customize the color. So maybe you don't have a specific color. You could go in and replace it. You could actually come in and add and subtract colors as things go. You can change your thread palettes that are on here. And you can actually watch this in Stitch Preview. Now, I love this because if I come up to my little hoop here and touch this, it's going to take it a second to think because it's actually creating that preview for us. But once it does that, it's going to show us this in a hoop setting to show us what it's going to look like in the different hoops. But then it's also going to allow us to Stitch Preview the actual design. And we actually have people who will say, it's taken a minute. Yeah, it's taken a minute because it's a pretty intense little thing, right? So now you can see that I have this. This is showing it to me in that 11 5/8 by 18 1/4 hoop. If I take it down, I can see it also in the 9 1/2 by, or no, the 10 5/8 by 10 5/8 hoop. Notice that my 5x7 and my 4x4 are grayed out. That's because the design is too large for those hoops. But if I come right here to the second tab, Stitch Simulator, and go ahead and touch that, I can also come up and say zoom. And when I zoom, again, it's going to take it a second, but you're going to see that it's going to get rid of the hoop part of the preview and just show me the burger itself.
So it's a great way to kind of really see the detail of the design.
It is, because you get a full screen preview of it. And again, you're asking the software to do something pretty hefty. So you kind of have to just say, good machine, you're doing great. Just think.
See, it heard you.
It did. It just knew what I was wanting to do. But here's what's really cool. I can come down here and do it at different speeds. We'll do it at 3 here. And then I can just push play. And it's going to actually show me how this stitches. And what's really funny is this is a great way to kind of see what Patty was talking about with if it has a weird color in there, you may be kind of thinking, why is that color in there, right? And then you'll see that as it puts that color down, it'll come back and layer something on top of it. Now it looks like a completely different color.
Right. Or maybe you didn't want all those background stitches.
Yeah,
you could determine like, gosh, maybe I could skip the first two, or there is a way in the machine too that you can go in and you can turn those off.
Yeah,
from
absolutely.
stitching.
Yeah, so, but you can see like my cheese starts out brown. Maybe not the best way to start out cheese, right? But as we go in,
this
that
is
cheese
not green and moldy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now it kind of is. But yeah, so this is a cool way to kind of see how this is going to stitch out and give you an idea of kind of the progress. Because I will tell you, as you watch Picture Play stitch, it's terrifying because you're sitting there going, this is never going to turn out right.
And it's going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure.
Yeah, but it's a cool thing to do. So
love it.
I can hit close. And then once I'm ready, I always say throw this in memory because you've spent some time on it. It does show you right here kind of how long. This is almost 4 hours of stitching, right? Yep. So I'm okay with that. You know,
find a good Netflix show.
That's right. Make sure there's a TV right here. So, but once I've got it, I can hit the set. It's going to tell me that, hey, you're moving over to embroidery. And at that point, you're ready to go. So even though that's a really fast preview of how Picture Play works, that's really it.
That's pretty impressive, though, too, that the machine does that.
Yeah.
So.
And the cool thing is that we have other features that are in here. All of our editing tools are still available to us, right? So if I came in on my embroidery editing screen and touched edit here, you would see that I can resize, I can move, I can rotate, I can duplicate. I can even come in and use my repeat key and make tons of them if they were small enough, right? So,
and like you said too, you can go back and you can add fonts to this. You could add other designs to it. We keep talking about wanting to add like frame shapes and things like that around the designs too.
Yeah.
So
it's such a cool feature though. Very cool. We really encourage you, if you guys haven't seen this work, ask your retailer. Maybe they have some great samples to show you out there and have some stuff. And if not, sit down and play at the machine and see kind of what it has. It does work. I know we use clip art, we use photos, things like that. We get asked a lot of questions about, does it do people? Of course it does people. So I've got one that's saved in here that is actually my nephew, Hayden. And so here's Hayden at his first dance, which I think is hilarious.
That's so fun.
So we can come in and pull him in, and you'll notice here's the picture. So this might be a great time to come in and use my frames and say, hey, I want to do a circle and I want to pull this up so that I'm just getting his really little happy little face there, right? So now I can come in.
He's going to love that he's on a
broadcast. We use our family for everything, right? They get pimped out for all kinds of stuff. All right, so now I can have that in there and say next, and you'll see that it automatically cropped that down to a circle. The process would be exactly the same. I would just say next, let it go ahead and calculate. It will pick this up. Now, we do have some guidelines for best recommendations as far as what works best at what sizes. If you're look back at your user's instruction and reference manual, or you can go watch the Radiance 101 picture. But you can see here that it's giving me a good little representation. Now, this is small, so I'm not getting as much detail. The one thing that you will know about, or you will learn about Picture Play, is the bigger the image, the more detail you're going to get, right? Now, you do have density down here at the bottom, so I could increase it just a little bit if I wanted to. But I just love how quick and easy this is. And you could really make great heirlooms, great kind of greeting. Think about like cloth greeting cards.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
And Mike turned the little landscape oval shaped into an ornament.
I did, yeah. Use
really,
those
really
little
cool.
build your own ornament shells, things like that. And that'll be something that we'll write up in the future and kind of put out there for you guys.
And that's one of the things too that you and I love about the Facebook community, is because that's one of the places where this is probably one of the features we've seen the most that people have had a lot of fun playing with. They've been sharing what they've been creating. So it's really a lot of fun to see how everybody takes this and interprets it and does something completely different with it.
And I think a lot of things that comes up with this is, what do I do with it when I got it stitched out, right? And that's where that group does come in handy. So I've seen a lot of backs of denim jackets that look really cool. I've seen a lot of tote bags.
The cutest was somebody had a picture of their dog that they had done and scanned, and then they turned it into a pillow and they put it on the couch, and she's got a picture of the dog looking at itself on the pillow. It's really, really cute. It's really sweet.
He's kind of like, is that me?
Is that me? Who is this dog that's sitting up here?
But absolutely love this feature. Have fun playing around with it. Let's go back in and look at some of the other things that are inside of embroidery itself.
Yeah, and Zandra talked about some of these. And so, as she mentioned, there's quite a bit of built-in designs in the Radiance. So you have your exclusive designs. You have some what we call common designs. Those are all now categorized, you know, which is really nice. You have those fonts and font preview, which she kind of showed you, the fact that you can say, I want to see what these letters look like. That's awesome, because there are times where you know, you and I have an M as our, you know, we constantly are looking at M's and B's and things like that. But sometimes it's just good to be able to preview those to decide if that's the font that you want. But beyond that, there are so many other editing capabilities within these. And now some of these fonts can go up to 4 inches.
Right.
That's unheard of in our Baby Lock machines. Most of the time you were limited to about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches. Yeah, exactly. So you want to show them what it looks like if you choose one of like the newer fonts?
Yeah. So on my font category, once you select your font category, up at the very top, you'll see a show preview click button. Without it on, obviously, it's just going to take you into your embroidery editing. But if I click this and then I come in and say, hey, I want to see what this font looks like, we could go down and find one of our newer fonts. So
that's cute. 408 is cute.
408 is cute. It kind of looks like a handwritten, like elementary school. But this is what that preview is going to do for us, right? I can actually come in and see I've got all of my capital letters, all of my lowercase letters, all of my numbers. And then this is where it gets really useful is what all punctuation do I have? Or what all special characters do I have? If I'm writing in a different language, I need to know, do I have those tildes? Do I have those sueños? Do I have all of those accents and things? This is cool because it even shows I have copyright and registered trademark. Yeah.
My husband's initials are TM. I could just use trademark.
You can do that's great. You can just do trademark. I love that. You've been demoted, Tim. But once you've got this, you just hit OK. And then it takes us into our entry screen where we can actually enter our text. Multi-line text, we can come in. What's really nice is you can type it in one font and decide, hey, I don't like that font so much anymore. And you can just go change it right there. You don't have to retype it.
I love it.
So absolutely fun to play in fonts. I've always been a big fan of playing with fonts on the machine.
You and I both do a lot of personalization, so I think it's kind of near and dear to our hearts. But yes, and it's a point system, so you're not going to see necessarily it represented as inches, but as you started to type something, it will show you the inches, but instead of having large, medium, and small, it'll actually show you the true size, and then you see the points. So if we were going to, make any adjustments, you could select the whole word by choosing that ABC, and it'll change it all for you. So
yeah, so if I've come in and I've kind of did the Baby Lock there, I could come in and just delete back and edit right there on screen. I don't have to go in and start over.
Love that.
Let's say I get this all typed out and I'm like, okay, maybe this isn't the font that I really wanted. That's okay as long as I have my ABC here selected, meaning that it's going to do the whole text. I can come up here to my text selection or my font selection, and I can say maybe we want to do Thinking of Betty, right? That's the name of that font, which we love. Thinking of Betty. I don't know who Betty is, but we're thinking about her. Or maybe we're going to come down and do, I think this one's called something like Strawberry Hill or something like that. But once I get in there, I can come in. And here's where Patty's talking about the point system. So this is what's a 30 point. And generally speaking, when we're talking about points on this, roughly 25 points is an inch. So if you kind of keep that in mind, it's going to kind of be in there. So if I wanted to come up here and change this, all I have to do is increase size here. And what's really nice about this, we'll talk about resizing and embroidery in just a minute. We'll talk about with or without stitch recalculation. When we're working with text is all graphically inspired, so you don't have to worry about stitch recalculation. But you can see that even though I've got the point system here, right up here, it's going to tell it to me in inches or millimeters, depending on what we've got it set up. So lots of fun can be had here. We can arc the actual font. We can put it on an incline, decline. We can space it.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do with it.
We can do all kinds of stuff, which I absolutely love. So lots to do inside.
Yeah, but we both love the preview. We both love the increased size on that. But there's some other things too that on here. You do have some large letters that are included, right? Some large alphabets. So those are already kind of pre-sized in those larger formats. Those come in one at a time, just like a regular embroidery design would come in. But I love that. You've got some great fonts, and that's a really fun one that has like a decorative fill in it. So it's really fun to play with.
That's your new one.
That's your new one. Yeah. And then we have our frames, which are great for creating appliques or quilt labels, that sort of thing. We also have some decorative motifs that you see traditionally over on the sewing side, but you also have those on the embroidery side, along with some buttonholes, eyelet stitches, all that sort of thing. So if you're not great at keeping your decorative stitches straight on the sewing side, this is where you can come. And then category 7, those were the things that Zandra was talking about. We had some of these on the Solaris. We've added 2 new ones on the Radiance. So we, again, have had a lot of fun making some projects with those. Michael, a lot of times, stitch them out on some fun fabrics, and then we stretch them on canvases and things like that.
We've got one actually behind us. This is from the original 5 collection. But what's really neat about this is 3 hoopings, right? It's not just one single hooping. It's 3 hoopings. It's taking advantage of your camera
and our pattern
and your pattern connectivity. So I didn't have to do anything to line those up. I just follow the directions, and it's perfect.
And the pattern connectivity is a great way to utilize the camera and to connect designs together. The thing that's beautiful about that category is, like you said, it's all automatically done for you. Yeah. So it walks you through step by step. And you want to show them the long stitch?
Yeah, so this next category is long stitch. And, you know, this is fun because Patty and I are big rule breakers. that's our life. And this is breaking the rules of embroidery. So this is actually one of the newer designs. But you'll notice that these are not short little stitches. These are big, long floats, right? So each one of these strings, it's very reminiscent of like nail string art or a spirograph or anything like that. But this, you know, normally the rule is that we never do floats longer than 10 millimeters, blah, blah, blah. Some of the floats that are in this are in the 30s and 40 millimeter area. So you're going to have some really long floats. Here's another version to where you're going to see really long floats. And this does look like nail art.
And these have even gotten bigger on the Radiance. The ones that were on the Solaris were a little bit smaller in scale, and now we've really increased the size of them. So I love that. But yeah, you can really see those long stitches there.
Now, one thing we do tell you is kind of a thing on this. These are not things you're going to put on clothing. These are not things that are going to be on high use or high wear items. These are wall art.
Yeah.
These are things that are going to be a lot of abuse.
Don't put it on your dish towel that you're going to go wipe your hands on, because it's going to not look good.
The minute you wash it is gone.
Yep,
right?
Exactly.
So, but you can see we've got quite a few really cool designs here. The first ones at the top of the category are going to be your larger ones, and they kind of go down from there. But lots of really, really cool stuff. Yeah. We even have a couple of projects that are available on our website that actually shows you how to use these, because these, along with couching, which we'll talk about here in a second, and our pattern connectivity group, those actually they have restrictions to them. They can't be combined with things. They can't be used with different editing features, things like that. So there are some restrictions to them. And that's more just because of the nature of how they're stitched
They're just unique designs.
Yeah. Exactly. So the next category you're going to have is your quilting category. So this is going to have two different versions in it. It's going to have your enhanced quilt borders, which, you know, you did this beautiful little summer banner that's over here behind you. And if you look really close on this one, I'm sure Jim can get you a great vision. The border itself is kind of a loop-de-loop border that was done with the enhanced quilt border feature. And then in the middle, you actually use one of the edge-to-edge designs that's built into the embroidery side, not in the automatic feature here, to make your own kind of edge-to-edge quilt. But the cool thing is in the machine, we actually do have quilt edge-to-edge quilting. And that's going to do all of the work for us, right?
And I think a lot of people want that professional finished look when it comes to quilting their table runners and the different projects. And a lot of us use embroidery now to do that. So I love that we have this feature built in. And the thing that's really cool is you can use those borders for up to a king size quilt. Now, that's a lot of fabric to manage, but it is really quick and easy. Most of those sections are like a minute. And then you use the projector, you use the camera to help you kind of get everything lined up.
And the fact that we have this extra large harp, right? I mean, this is really going to allow us, you know, it's 118 inches for a king size quilt. And that's, like you said, a lot of fabric to manage. But because we have that extra space, you could do it.
And now, those magnetic cubes.
Am I going to do a bunch of king size quilts? No, we have a wonderful long arm that you can buy to do that. But if you're just doing one or two every now and then, it makes it to where it works really well. And then the last category, this is probably one that you've done more of than I have, but this is our couching category.
Yeah, we get kind of obsessed about different things on the machine, and this is one that I love. And so, you know, this has category that has some open and airy kind of yarn couching designs, and then it also has some built-in letters. And so, you know, these are really, really fun. Adds some texture, adds some dimension. I don't know if you want to grab those samples out of the drawer. I think we stuck them in the drawer just so that we could show you guys.
We did. It's the magic drawer.
Magic drawer. So this is kind of that open and airy, just so you can kind of see that those are some of the category one. And, you know, again, a really nice design. If any of you guys had any of our machines that had bobbin works, that's kind of where those translated from.
And that's a rare sample because that's a couching design that I stitched, you didn't.
I know that, Mike did stitch. And then this is, again, those built-in letters. And so, you know, it's a fun way to kind of take advantage of using those. And if you've ever seen any of the videos or anything like that, we have a lot of videos where we got really get creative with it. So I started using them as shapes. So there's a lot of fun things you can do with those. And even some of our educators have had fun even creating some in palette and things like that. So there's a lot of fun you can have with it. Just, I like the dimension and adding different yarns and textures to the project.
Speaking of our educators, Karen Parker, who's one of our educators, Karen does a lot of digitizing with me on projects that we work on. She actually used palette to digitize some granny squares using the embroidery couch feature, which is really neat. So
super fun.
Love this and have a lot of fun with it. Here on the screen, you're also going to see that we have our memory feature. So we can pull things both from our USBs, we can pull from internal memory. But what's really cool is, again, with using our IQ Intuition positioning app, we can actually send things wirelessly over to the machine. We can also, bless you. Sorry, I've got a habit of doing that. Jim is our videographer, and he yells at me all the time. But not the IQ Intuition app, but the Palette 11 will allow us to do designs wirelessly.
And design database transfer,
which is free, will allow us to do that as well.
So let's show them one of the other cool features so we can just kind of touch on some editing features. We know we're kind of getting close on time. If we go into one of the categories, like say category 1 or 2, like if we choose 1, up at the top now there's this filter option. And we both thought this was really cool because there's so many designs now built into the machine. And sometimes you're just like, I need a design in a specific size, or maybe lazy embroiderers, we only want it in a certain number of few colors. So if you click upon that, it gives you the option to choose your size. And when you go into size, you could set your lower limit. And I think yesterday we were playing like 6x6 was kind of a good size, like saying that's as far low as I want to go. And then for the upper limit, you can come in and choose that. And again, choose your biggest hoop that you want to use. Okay. It doesn't mean that that's a hoop you have to use, but if we said like 9.5 by 9.5, say, okay, then you can choose colors and come in and say, maybe we don't want those really high ones, right? We just want the lower ones. Say, okay, and then apply that. It's going to only show me the designs that work with that. So maybe, you can play around with that, choose one of the designs, maybe increase the number. Yeah. And just kind of see what designs. So like this number 1 is one of the new designs that's built into the Radiance. It's a new collection that's called 3D. Okay. And you could select that design and set it. But that's also cool too. You get a lot of information about before we even set the design over. And this brings you over to embroidery editing. And there's so many editing tools built into the machine. Way more than we could spend in this next, 15 minutes going over. But you have a ton of editing features. And also, they're so easy. Now we have the tooltips. If you're not sure what something does, it's going to show you that. But we can also use our projector. And one of the things that's really, really cool is that when you go into the projector, you're going to see that we now have it on the embroidery editing. We only had it previously on the embroidery layout screen. So you would have had all your editing done, etc. And this is where we need to take advantage of our stylus, right?
Yeah, and we should, the stylus, while we've got the stylus out, one of the things we should talk about, we're going to be using the actual embroidery editing part of the stylus, which is our little click light. The other side is going to be our fine point pen. There is a plastic disc on the fine point pen that once you expose it, once you expose this, you'll see that there's a little fine point disc here. You do not want to remove that little plastic cap that's on there. That's actually to protect your screen. So if you're using the fine point, which is mostly going to be over in IQ Designer, or if you're just using it to touch the screen, you don't want to take that off. You want to leave it on there, okay? But this is the side that Patty's going to be using, and you can see if I click this little button here, I get a little light, and that's what's going to react with the actual editing software.
Right. So when we do this, we can come over here. Now you can see that there's little buttons here, actually are projected icons here at the bottom. So these down here are going to be my move keys. So if I wanted to move something, I could actually click using that stylus, and you'll notice ever so slightly it's moving that design. So over on the screen, it's replicating whatever I'm doing here on the projected area. Then if I wanted to see some of my other editing tools, I'll just simply, again, use my stylus, click that over, and it's going to change. And you can see up here, it's kind of showing me what it's changing to. Now I've got rotation. So I have those keys here. I can still rotate on my screen, but I can also rotate right here on the fabric itself. And then you can also click one more time. And this is where you get the ability to, doing it from a weird angle, to also adjust the size. So you could size it at this point, would be sizing it up 20% or sizing it down 10%, but you do have the ability to turn on the stitch recalculation option, which allows you to resize a design up to 200% and down 60%. That's pretty amazing within our machines that we can do that without having to go out to software.
And there's some other really cool things that are built into the projecting up here. If you notice, we've got left and right arrows with bars after them. If I had more than one design on the screen, I could actually proceed through the different designs without having to do anything on the screen itself. Also, if we click this one here, it actually shrinks
Kinda-
down all of the tools.
Kind of minimizes
Yeah,
those
so
tools.
you can see it. And the projector here is twice as big as our previous projectors because the way we kind of like to think about it is we went from a postcard size to half a sheet of paper. So we went from 3 inches by 5 inches to now 5 by 8 inches.
Mhm.
So it's doubled in size.
Right. And if you're trying to see a different part of your design, you can actually move that 8 by 5 projected field by just either touching here on the screen or on the bed of the machine, or you can touch it on the screen as well and move those little blue blocks around, and that will move it as well. So again, love that, because again, before we were doing all of our editing and we couldn't really see it on the fabric. Now you have the option to see it on the fabric, and we can actually change our background. We have lots of colors now with the projector. So not only is it larger, there's more color options for the background.
Yeah, so here on my screen, you'll see there's a little gear that also reflects the machine settings gears up here, but we're going to actually use the one in my editing area. If I click on this, you'll see that it opens up projector settings down here at the bottom. So I can actually turn off the capability of the stylus to be used as editing if I didn't want to do that. But the background color, if I click on that, you'll notice that now I have 16 different colors that I can choose from. So if I come over and say, let's see it on a white background, if I turn that on, you'll notice that the entire background turns to a different color. If I go to like blue, it'll change that. And so depending on what color your fabric is, you may see that there's a better color for you to be able to see your design.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that this has changed. It went from 3 colors to now 16 colors. So you can actually get...
Actually, I think 2 colors. We said black and white, didn't we?
Gray. We had a gray.
Oh, we had a gray. You're right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but depending on what you're working with, you know, and this is an ombre fabric. So I may find that like in the middle, it might be on one color. On the bottom, it might be better on another color.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I love the fact that that's on the fly kind of change, right? Can I change it in my actual settings menu? Yeah, absolutely. You can do it there as well. But having it in the actual editing menu just makes it a little bit more simple. Yeah.
So that's one great way to kind of get your design placed, positioned. And in this case, now we can edit it, but we still have all of the great features that we had on the Solaris now over on the Radiance, which a lot of that has to do with our camera.
It does, yeah. And the camera is going to allow you to not only take a picture of what's in the hoop itself. So if I come up and I go to my camera, it's actually called Fabric Scan is what we're going to see. And you can see that there's just a little icon that says scan. And as soon as you do, you hit scan, say, okay. It's going to warn you before it does anything because this is a big hoop, right?
Yeah.
So if I was sitting right in front of it, I may want to back up a little bit. If I've got something behind the machine, I want to actually make sure there's nothing back there, like your cup of coffee or your soda.
We always say the hot iron.
The hot iron, yeah.
Right.
But it does take a picture of what's in the screen, and in just a second, you'll see it kind of pops up. It's coming for you, Patty.
I know, moving out of the way. And that's one of the things we should say, too. One of the big redesigns, too, with the Radiance is the fact that this embroidery arm so much beefier than it was on the Solaris.
So much quieter.
Yeah.
You were noticing that? You probably didn't even hear it, right?
What did Zandra call it? Like the ninja? Like she said, it was so quiet you didn't even hear it.
But look at that. We're seeing now, we can actually see, you can see the ombre
inside of the fabric. Ombre.
But now I can come in and say, okay, I actually want it to be down in the darker side, right? Because we can't forget that this is a touch screen, right? So all of the gestures that we're used to, we can actually use here on our screen. I can even come in and pinch in or pinch out.
You could use your stylus.
I could use my stylus. I could use my mouse, whatever the case may be. But once you've got that scan, that's one way to actually do placement. We still have the wonderful feature of positioning stickers. I love positioning stickers. Positioning stickers, you take an actual sticker and put down where you want the actual design to be, and it scans it, reads it, and places it, and rotates it for you. Which,
Right, because you don't have to be perfect at hooping.
Yeah.
You can put your sticker on where it needs to go, and then when you actually go to scan it, it's going to do all of that work for you.
Absolutely. And then one of the other things that we're going to have that's available too is I'm actually just going to turn off my background image here for now. But if I go over to my embroidery screen, you'll also notice that we have our needle point check, which if I come in and lower that, you'll see that we actually get a projected crosshair that goes down on the machine itself. So I can use that in conjunction with what we call our 9 points of placement. And now I can actually see the different locations of my design. So I can see the center of my design, either of the 4 corners or north, south, east, or west. Yeah.
So that's a lot of fun. Now, one of the things we talked about, Picture Play, we also have IQ Designer, which is a really, really fun program too. And a lot of, again, adds a lot of creativity and creative options to the Radiance.
And there's 2 ways to get to it. We can do it from the embroidery screen. We can go down to the bottom left-hand corner or bottom right-hand corner. I promise I know my left and my right.
That's all right.
But go to bottom right corner, or from the home screen, I can just go straight into IQ Designer. Now, IQ Designer is not something I can teach in 5 minutes, right? It's something that takes a little bit of time. In our Radiance 101, we have a beginner session and then we have an advanced session.
Yeah.
And even with that, that's just going to get your feet wet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And we even just introduced a new IQ Designer video series, Mastering IQ Designer video series, that gives you 36 videos that walks you through learning all of it. Now, it's filmed on the Solaris, but it translates to the Radiance. Yeah. And then it has 26 different projects too. Yeah. And they're all videos that you can walk through and watch step by step by step exactly how the projects are done. And then you get written instructions. So again, we have lots of tools to help you learn IQ, but we can show them really quick, like how you could take some of that artwork that we scanned in and turn it into a design.
Yeah, absolutely. So up here at the very top, you're going to see that we have a little icon that looks like a leaf with an arrow on it. We're going to go there and we get to choose whether we want just a picture, we want line designs like a coloring book, or if we want color designs like a pre-colored coloring book. We'll just do the coloring book, which is line designs. And again, you'll notice that we have this little same icon we had before. We can scan. You get what's called a scanning frame. You could take a picture of that and actually have it printed out and then take the picture and it'll go in. Patty's grabbing that so she can show it to you.
So you guys can see this. It's a scan frame. You just attach your artwork here to the scan frame and then you can scan that image.
Yeah. You can also bring it in via your internal machine memory.
Yep.
Or you can bring it in via a USB. But I'm going to come over here to my little recall from what we've already sent over. These were sent over with the app. So let's go in, and I think it's the third or fourth.
I think it's one right above it.
There it is. So we've got this little cute line art of a dog. We do. Patty and I both have dogs. I think we all have dogs. But I've got this little dog on here. Once we come in, it's going to allow us to crop the image. Now, the cool thing is if you're using artwork, it's going to allow us to it was going to go ahead and automatically crop it for us, which is awesome. I could probably crop it just a little bit more to get rid of some dead space. The one thing that we get questions about is why do we crop even after it's already done it? It's because the empty space that you see around it is included as part of the size of the design. So as I was cropping, if you were watching right up here, my size of my design was changing.
Right, which that could just impact what hoop you could actually go stitch in the end.
Exactly. So I could come in and change my grayscale detection. We talked a lot about this during our Radiance 101. But down here, what's really cool, if I click on this, I can choose any of my different line design types. So I can do running stitches, I can do zigzags or satin stitches, I can do triple stitches, whatever the case may be. So we're going to use, candle wicking is my favorite. We're going to use the zigzag for right now. And maybe we're going to make him brown because maybe he's a brown dog and say, okay. And from this point, we just actually click okay here at the bottom. And you'll notice that we lost his eyes.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Poor Fido. He's blind. So this might be where I come in and change my grayscale detection level a little bit. So maybe I want it to pick up some of the bright, lighter colors here. And playing with this, we know it's still not going to pick up the eyes, but this is one of the things that's really great about the design. We have drawing tools, so we can come in and say, okay, here. Now you'll say, well, his eyes are back. That's actually the original image behind. Right up here at the top, we have a slider bar where we can hide the original image. So there is my actual image itself.
Yeah, but you might need it if you're going to draw.
Yeah, so I can pull that back in, use my zoom feature, which... Can we talk about 1600% zoom?
People think it's crazy that it zooms that much, but there are times where you need that.
Yeah, there absolutely is. But I'm going to come in and zoom in right there on his eyes.
Some of his freckles too.
I lost his freckles, but we'll just worry about his eyes right now. So I'm going to come in and grab a shape, and this is what's really cool. We already have shapes built in, right? So I can just say, hey, let's just grab, and I only want it to be a fill, right? So I'm just going to grab just the fill itself, say okay. And what you're going to see is it's going to look like, oh my gosh, why did it turn red? It's because it's real that circle is really huge. So I'm going to come in and just shrink that circle down.
You could even type in with the keypad.
I can, yeah. If I knew the actual measurement, I could do that. But I'm going to say that I don't know the actual measurement. So I'm going to just shrink. Okay, and then once I start getting it into the size that I want it, you'll notice that I can move it around.
Love it.
And instead of having, if I don't want it to have circles like what I've got right now, I can actually come in and make those ovals because I can shrink just the width, right? So you have full control over this. That's what I love. Is it's just a great way to be creative and kind of just play around. And then once I get one eye set, now if I was being really finicky, I'd rotate, I'd do all that kind of stuff. But just for what we're doing right now, I'm just going to come down and say duplicate. It's going to create a second one for me, and then I'm going to come over and move that. So I'm just going to go into one of my tools that actually has my move keys in it, which Resize has my move keys as well as duplicate and a couple of other ones. Or not duplicate has, but Resize does. And now just like that, he has eyes, right?
Love that.
So I can go back out to 100%. Now I can get rid of my background image, and it doesn't look like he's there, but I promise he's there. I'm going to hit next, and you will see that this is going to come up and give us our little devil dog.
But that's okay. You can actually link those two together,
Yeah.
and you could actually
So right now you can see we've got a red fill. If I hit my link, it'll choose both of them. I can come in and touch and say, hey, let's just make those black, and say okay. And he's no longer a demon dog. So quick and easy. And this is what's so cool about this. I have full control over all the settings here, so I can play around with it. But once I change everything how I want it, once I hit set, just like that, I have a custom embroidery design.
Yeah, I love it.
Now, some of the new features that you're going to see in IQ Designer is that underneath our running stitch and underneath our triple stitch or a bean stitch, we can actually turn off the underlay stitches, which means that we can go in and have it just do a single run, which that's something we get asked for all the time. We gave it to you. It's there now.
And you can make them go up to 10 millimeters. So you can make your own, create your own basting stitches, which a lot of people want to have a basting stitch for their hoop size, so you can do that as well.
Yeah. And then the other thing that's in is we've got 6 new fills that are available to us inside of our fill properties, which is the second category here. Your fills are going to be in this last little section. If I hit select, if I scroll all the way down to the bottom here, you will see the 6 new, and here they are. There's like a little laurel wreath, kind of like a ball wave, and then these flowers, the cross, the diagonals, and then this one is really interesting because if you like to do your own chenille, you can actually use this to make chenille, which is really, really cool.
And I've even used it and rotated and just stitched out lines so that I've got lines that I can go and like stitch, put rick rack and things like that over. Give me a template.
Now, one thing that's really cool about this is you do have 54 fills in here.
Those are all over by you?
Yeah, but we do actually have what's called Design Suite Series. So if I come into my customs here, you'll notice we've got a couple already loaded, but you can load up to 12 custom designs. If you have palette 11, you can make your own, right? But if you don't have palette 11, or you're just not, you don't want to deal the creative, maybe software is not your thing, we actually have a ton of collections. We actually made some ones that were specifically for the Radiance. So that's what this first one is.
Yeah, and this collection here not only includes some of the decorative fills, we also included some embroidery designs.
Yeah.
So this is one of the designs. They're design, some are set to take advantage of that large embroidery hoop, and then there's some smaller designs. There's some really beautiful floral wreaths, and then you also created some custom motifs and fills that go with it too. So we tried to think of everything kind of together for that. But this is part of the promotional bundle that comes with the Radiance. So you get that collection, which, again, includes some motifs and fills and embroidery designs, which we love. And then these are just some other ones that we have. These are some of our newer ones. These were actually some of our celebrity collections that we also introduced last year when the Radiance came out. And so there's different styles. So again, with each celebrity, we kind of captured their individual artwork, their vibe, and worked with some of their artwork and stuff like that to create these really beautiful motifs and fills,
including Zandra's second
selection.
Yeah,
that is Zandra's. Yes, correct.
Yeah,
and hers are really fun. These are all little animals and things like that.
Cute.
Yeah, they're very, very cute.
Yeah.
So we have, I think, 12 or 13 collections now. I mean, they keep growing. We keep growing.
I think we're at 14 now.
Yeah, keep growing. So it's a great way to kind of take that, because one of the things we always hear is, when are you going to get more fills? How do I get more fills? And there's a lot of things you can do with layering them and doing things like that. But being able to just buy them and import them is also a great way to expand your library of fills.
Yeah, and I'll say one of the things that we're really proud about those because they're made in-house. Those are all done here.
Mike and Karen Parker do.
But our team, it's not just the two of us do the digitizing, but it's a huge team of people that are involved with that. Our marketing department is a big part of it. Our production build, or our product building, what is it called? Light manufacturing has done that. Jenny downstairs, she does a great job with that. So it's something that's all done right here in St. Louis, which is a lot of fun. So let's switch neighborhoods. We've been in embroidery, we've been in IQ, so we might as well go over to sewing, right?
Yep, and we can leave our embroidery unit on when we go to the sewing side. It's going to ask me to remove
the hoop out, but you can leave the arm on.
Yep.
And the reason that it asks you to take the hoop out is if you watch what happens to the arm right now, the arm's going to dock over to the left-hand side. Now, over in the sewing side, again, that ease of use is just going to be very prevalent, right? We're going to see we've got 2 different sections inside of sewing. We've got utility stitches, which is all going to be in this kind of purpley blue color. And then you're going to see that we have the character and decorative stitches, which is going to be more grays and blacks. But when you're stitching on this, what's really nice, it prompts you through the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah. So you've got a sample.
Well, this is, I'm just bringing out one of the newer things too, just so we make sure we don't forget to talk about the stitch sync.
Yeah, stitch sync is great. Everything here on the screen is going to walk you through anything that you can imagine. But what's really nice is up here at the top, you can see we've got that symbol that we saw earlier for the projector. So that automatically tells me I have a projector feature over here on this machine.
It's great to preview your stitches. And
yeah. So I'm going to go, ooh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm going to go into our projector there so you can see
Here,
Patty's
going to put this fabric underneath it, or else I could grab the fabric out of the... Here we
Does
go.
that work?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you can see here, just like we did over on the embroidery, we can do our editing right on the flatbed of the machine, right? So we can go with our stitch width, our stitch length, and our left-right shift. We can come in and change our background color, right? So if we need to use any of those 16 different colors, we can definitely do that.
That's very bright.
Yeah, it's very bright. And you can see it's actually showing me a preview of the stitch we currently have selected, right? We can actually change the color of this so that it shows, I think it's 4 different colors, yellow, blue, red, and black. And then also what's really cool about this is the third little icon that's here, that's going to let us actually preview our currently selected stitch along with our previous and our next. So it's probably hard to see, but right here it's showing us the current and then the previous and the one after. What's really kind of interesting is that if you'll notice here on my screen is actually grayed out. So once we go into the stitch preview mode on our projector, until we turn that stitch preview mode out, it's going to tell us that we have to be dealing with the projector itself and not with the screen. But all you have to do is close that out and then you can go to the screen and it works extremely well, okay? What's nice is our machine does tell us what foot we want to use. And with the exception of just a few stitches in here that are going to use like the X foot or the side cutter foot, something like that, all of the feet that would be listed up here will be included inside of your utility box or your beauty box. Okay, so we don't ask you to have to go out and buy a bunch of feet. You get those in there.
Yeah, so let's talk about the stitch sync foot. I was going to try to like switch it out real quick for you guys, but we need the screwdriver, which is in the beauty box, which is awesome. We get a beauty box with all of the different tools and accessories. So this is a foot that you do want to plug in. That's what's going to actually activate the stitch sync part of the machine. So let me take this foot off.
And you're hearing us say stitch sync. Stitch sync for us is our free motion quilting foot. So this is actually going to do it with stitch regulation, I should say. So this is our stitch regulator foot. That's going to allow us to actually free motion quilt and get perfect stitching every single time.
Right. So this actually plugs into the back of the machine, and that's what, when we do this, it's going to change the screen.
Yeah. So Patty's plugging in right now. You'll see. There you go. It says you can start free motion quilting, basting, and the stitch regulator. So all I'm going to do is hit OK. And what you'll notice is that it's actually going to change my entire screen here. And we actually have 3 different modes of stitch regulation. So mode 1, if I come in and choose mode 1, that's going to give us our intermittent mode. And what that means is as we move our fabric, our needle moves up and down. Okay. We don't move the fabric is stationary. The needle stationary. Okay, so it just stops. If I go to mode number 2, that's going to be our continuous mode. That means that whether the fabric is moving or not, that needle's going up and down, right?
Good for points, good for stars, things
if you're a long armor, we like to call that precision, right? And then the last one that you have is we actually have a basting stitch. Now, it does tell me on the basting stitch that I should be using just the closed toe.
And only the straight stitch.
Right, and a straight stitch. Because,
the other ones had zigzags.
Yeah, the open toe and the closed, you get the closed toe, the open toe, and the echo foot. And then with the stitch regulation, if you're in mode 1 or mode 2, you can do a zigzag or a straight. If you're in basting, you can only do straight.
Right, and these feet, the soles, are very easy to just take on and off. There's a little lever in the back that kind of just pushes it out. And then when you want to replace it, you just push that back in, and now we're good to go.
Yeah. And I will say, Patty and I are not free motion quilters.
Nor do we play one on TV.
But we've had fun playing with this. I mean, it really is a lot of fun. Linda Bratine, who is one of our instructors, she actually
this is one of her samples.
This is one of her samples. She's had a lot of fun with this as well.
Yeah, she likes to use it for thread painting and things like that.
Yeah.
But you'll notice she does take the projector as well, just so that there's a little sensor underneath the foot. So if it doesn't sense fabric, it's going to stop stitching for you.
Yeah.
So
this is a really fast overview of the Radiance. We could spend the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks with you going through all of the bits and pieces on it. But before we send you off, one of the things we do want to talk about is our specials.
Right.
So
promotion.
Yeah, we've got some promotions going on right now. And with the purchase of the Radiance right now, you're going to get the Radiance bundle, which is going to come with a thread box.
Right, a thread chest, a Madeira thread chest.
Yep. It's going to come with a quilted machine cover, which is going to match the luggage that Nairi showed you a little bit earlier.
Right.
And it's also going to come with that Radiance collection of design suite that we just saw.
It also has a 5x7 magnetic hoop, so that's a really nice,
love that one.
Usable size of a magnetic hoop, and then also the Facebook community and the Radiance class. So those are kind of the big ticket items as far as we think, for that. But we do have another promotion right now going on, and I'm gonna let them kind of run a little promo video so you guys can learn more about that.
Hi, I'm Linda with Baby Lock.
And I'm Josh from Riccar.
For a limited time, your purchase of a Baby Lock Radiance comes with your choice of one of 2 free gifts. The first is the Baby Lock Celebrate. You've already purchased the best-in-class sewing, quilting, and embroidery machine, so why not add to your space the Baby Lock Celebrate Serger? It's the perfect serger for finishing off the edges of all your creative projects.
But let's face it, sometimes sewing can be a little bit messy. The Riccar R25P, in my opinion, might be the best vacuum for both carpets and bare floors and has tools on board.
You're right, Josh. I use my Riccar all the time to keep my machines and my studio very clean.
Offers like this don't come along every day. Visit your local Baby Lock retailer to find out more.
That's Jim's back there, good time. So great offer there. You can see, I think we've got the vacuum on screen right now. We've got the Celebrate sitting up here behind us. Both are great choices. Which one would you choose?
I think I'd choose the vacuum. I get messy in my sewing room.
I'd choose the serger because I got a broom. Just kidding. Actually, they're both great deals, and they're also both great machines. So either one would be a great choice. But as always, talk to your local retailers. Ask them what they've kind of got there, what they can show you, what they can walk you through as far as demos, things like that. I'm sure they have a bunch of beautiful samples to kind of walk you through. But most of all, one of the things we want to say before we part is that you and I are sitting here on camera. Nairi was on camera with us as well. But there's a room full of people in here with us right now. And we want to say thank you to all of them because they've taken their Saturday morning to spend here in the studio with us as we went through this. So we have our video team that are here. We have our marketing team that's here. We even have our QA team that is watching from home to make sure everything's there. So we appreciate the help of
our trusty Linda running the back.
Yeah, Linda is running the back, and we've got our social media. Maddie's here as well. So thank you to that whole big crew. It takes a village, right, to do this. But we hope you've had fun getting a chance to kind of explore the Radiance with us. Make sure that, as you talk to your retailer, ask all of those questions, right? Because I'm sure that as you get down and you sit down and start playing with it, you're going to find things that just make you so excited.
Yeah. So we hope you guys enjoy this, and we hope that you guys are walking away thinking, wow, what an amazing machine. And again, like Mike said, take a look at it with your retailer and then come visit us in our classes.
Yep. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and we can't wait to see you in classes.
All right. Thanks, everybody.